Revenge films.
My name is Ashley. I live together with my husband, Michael, and we don't have any children. Michael's mother lived about 30 minutes away by train from our house. And one day, Michael told me that because his mother had broken a bone, he demanded that I go over to her house and help her with the chores. To be honest, ever since before I got married to Michael, my mother-in-law had bullied and harassed me in many ways, so I didn't want to go. But I thought that maybe I could go and help her at least when she had a broken bone. But that was a mistake. First, when I arrived at her house, she left me outside for over an hour by the front door. Even if I wanted to go inside, of course it was locked. Every single time I would hear from inside, "Just wait a minute, I'm coming." But in the end, she never came to the door, and I stood out there for over an hour. When she finally did open the door, she didn't say a word of apology for making me wait, or even thank me for coming over. As soon as I walked in, she demanded that I do all of the dishes. My mother-in-law's house, she had a dishwasher, but when I tried to use it for the dishes, she raised her voice at me.
"What do you think you're doing? If you use that, obviously it's going to cost money for the electricity bill. Wash it yourself."
I was irritated, wondering why she had placed it there if she didn't want me to use it. When I was finished cleaning up the kitchen, she told me to make a meal for her, so I did. But then, once again, it was complaints.
"What the hell is this color? It doesn't look good at all. You need to remake everything."
She walked over to the kitchen and dumped everything that was inside of the pot straight down the sink. "What are you doing to the food that I just made? That's such a waste."
"You're the one at fault for trying to make an injured person eat something like that. Now, hurry up and remake it."
My mother-in-law was saying this with a fat grin on her face. I don't have any cooking to give to an idiot that would do something like this to somebody's homemade meal. When I got pissed off at her, all of a sudden my mother-in-law grabbed her crutches and she started hitting me with them. She kicked me with her crutches about 2 times, but then I immediately grabbed the crutches from her and took them away from her. I regained my composure and said, "Ma'am, please calm down. Let me check to make sure that you haven't gotten hurt." In order to threaten my mother-in-law, I grabbed her leg and over the cast, I squeezed as hard as I could. My mother let out a large cry, and I continued to do it until my mother-in-law finally started crying and apologized to me. And then I said, "It seems like you don't need my help at all, ma'am, and you're especially perfectly capable of doing everything yourself. So I'm going to leave now, okay?" After I said that, I walked out of her house. From there, I went straight to the hospital and I asked for a health evaluation. When I got back home, I tried to speak to my husband about what happened when I got to her house, but this was his response.
"She's just having a hard time after her injury. You should at least be able to forgive her for that. You have such a small heart."
That was what he said, and he refused to take my side at all. I was frustrated with my husband for being so unsupportive. That evening, in the middle of the night, my mother-in-law called my husband, and apparently, she exaggerated and decorated what I had done to her to make it seem even worse. When my husband heard that, even though he completely ignored what I had said to him earlier, this time he woke me up and started yelling at me.
"I heard from my mom what you did to her. What a horrible woman you are!"
I couldn't understand why I was the only one being yelled at or blamed for this. And in the end that day, my husband and I got into a huge fight. Overnight and into the morning, I couldn't get him to understand, and he had to work that day. And then, that evening, when he came home from work, to my disbelief, he handed me divorce papers with his name already written on it. And then, he went out of his way to sign, seal in front of me.
"You know, there's no way I can continue to be with somebody who can't take care of or be kind to my mom. You need to be nice to my mom in the same way that you treasure me."
When he said that, he added,
"You can do whatever you want with these divorce papers. You're more than welcome to go ahead and turn them into the city office. So why don't you think long and hard about what you've done and make your decision?"
And he left me with the papers. But to be completely honest, my feelings for my husband had already gone cold, and the way that he refused to listen to me and would always only take his mother's side. Deep down inside, I was really relieved, but I didn't want him to rip the papers apart on the spot, so I put on an act. I didn't show my happiness on my face, and I tried to look depressed as I said, okay, and acted like I was reluctantly taking the divorce papers. But then my husband started laughing. He probably thought that I was going to go back and apologize to him and somehow come crawling back to him. What a joke. The next morning, when my husband was on his way to work, he said to me,
I bet you couldn't sleep at all last night, could you? I'm going to come back late today, so make sure you come up with your answer by the end of the day.
He smiled like he had everything in the palm of his hand, and he headed off to work. Once I confirmed that he was long gone, I packed up all of my husband's belongings when I explained the situation to my landlord, and she agreed to let me change the locks to the house. I sent all of my husband's belongings to his family home, and then I went straight to the city office and turned in the divorce papers that were already filled out and signed. As for why I was able to gather my husband's belongings and kick him out of the house was because that the house we were living in was actually originally my own home. I was already living there by myself, so when we got married, my husband moved from his family home and into my house. All of the household appliances were mine, and every month the rent was being taken out of my savings account, so there were no issues whatsoever. And so, once I arranged all of that to be finished, it was already the evening, and my husband came home without a clue. As soon as he walked in, with all the ease in the world, he said,
So, have you thought about it? I can talk to my mom for you too, so we can go together for you to apologize to her.
And for whatever reason, he had already decided that I was going to apologize to her. But who on earth wants to apologize to an abusive old woman like that? Yeah, I did think hard about it, and I turned in the divorce papers earlier today. As of today, you and I are nothing to each other. So please, don't ever come back to this house again either.
Excuse me? What the hell did you just say? What have you done?
You're the one that said I could turn in the divorce papers if I wanted to. I've sent all of your belongings to your mom's house already, and if she refuses to accept them and they come back here, then I'm going to get rid of it all. Oh, I'm sure you haven't forgotten, but this was always my house to begin with, so please don't come back here ever again. There's no place for you here anymore.
Are you kidding me? That was just a joke. Why would you make such a big deal?
My husband lost his temper, and he lunged towards me as if he was going to grab and assault me. However, as he lunged forward, my older brother stepped in and stopped him in his tracks. And my husband was shocked.
What? My sister isn't kidding at all, though. Huh? Hello, I'm Ashley's older brother, Kevin. It's been a long time, Michael. Wait, what? But what are you doing here? As I said, long time no see. Yeah, it has been a long time, but why are you at our house? To celebrate my little sister's divorce, of course, but also, this is not your house anymore. What do you mean, to celebrate the divorce? But we haven't gotten divorced! What are you talking about? But you're the one who handed divorce papers to my little sister, saying that you don't mind if you get a divorce, right? Don't you think that it's a little bit too late to say that that was a joke? That might be true, but isn't it wrong that she would just turn it in without even discussing it with me first? Without discussing it with? Isn't that strange? Didn't my sister try to discuss the matter of your mother with you multiple times? And she was even hit with your mother's crutches, wasn't she? And yet, not only did you show zero care towards your wife, who was physically assaulted, you were the one who told her that if she can't take care of your mother who assaulted her, that you're going to divorce her. I may have said that, but I'm not going to acknowledge this! I don't accept this divorce! Do you really think that that excuse is going to pass? After you were the one who brought up divorce in the first place, you wrote and signed the divorce papers yourself. And you told her that she was welcome to turn in those divorce papers, if she wanted to. So that's exactly what my sister did. And she thought about it and turned in the divorce papers. What's so wrong about that? No, but still!
Still trying to make excuses, Kevin, and that was when he lost it.
But what, you idiot? So what? Even if it was a joke, what about it? Weren't you using the divorce papers as a way to threaten my sister? Did you think that if you could hit my sister with divorce, that she would do exactly as you say? And she wouldn't go against her mother-in-law anymore? As if such a ridiculous turn of events would ever happen!
After that, It was a fully one-sided heated discussion, and after blow from my brother, Michael was sobbing. My brother was more than double the size of Michael, but even just in words, he was completely beat up by Kevin. In the end, Michael dropped down on his knees to apologize to both me and my brother. But of course, at this point, it was already way too late to say he doesn't want to get a divorce. No matter how much she cries or laughs, the divorce papers were already turned into the city office and processed. We were no longer family anymore, so my brother picked my ex-husband up by the collar and threw him outside. And until the very end, he was yelling at him to never come near his little sister ever again. Dragging his feet away from me, a couple of days later he called me, asking if my brother was still around at my house. When I said no, he suddenly started saying nonsense like, "But you can't forget about me," and that our love surely wouldn't be destroyed over something this small. He was sending me pathetic messages like this, but I ignored them all. I hope he goes ahead and looks after his mom and her injury. However, because he had to move back home, in order for him to get to his office, it was now going to take him an hour each way. I hope he enjoys living together with his mom that he treasures so much. For the record, as for the settlement fee for his mom, smacking me with her crutches and assaulting me, I didn't even have to hire a lawyer. My brother went to go collect the money from him, and Michael paid the full amount. It wasn't like I had asked my brother to come over. It just so happened that my brother was back in town on that day by pure coincidence. And when I told him what had happened over the last couple of days, he was furious. It was a miracle that my brother was there, and I was saved by him.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.